Hey everyone, my name is Cody Shoppy, aka Maynard.
And my name is Scott Shoppy, Maynard's dad and podcast co-host.
Welcome to the brand new Talk with Maynard podcast. In these podcasts, we will be talking about anything from what it's like living with a disability such as Duchenne muscular dystrophy and accessibility problems that the disabled deal with every day, to my project or movement, if you will, called Project Maynardstang.
Today we'll be talking more about this podcast and what Project Maynardstang is. Now this is the first time we're doing a podcast, so bear with us. We're filling our way through, but first thing we want to talk about is a little bit more about me and Cody.
And we'll try not to be too boring because, I don't know, we
want you to stay interested.
Yeah, we want you to stay interested.
So we'll try to be entertaining at the same time.
So a little about myself. I have Duchenne muscular dystrophy, like it says in the beginning, the intro, and I don't know what to say about it.
Well, let's see. If you don't know us or not around, we live in Central Texas, small town of Cameron, 5,000 people. Mm-hmm. Cody is 21 years old. I am more than double his age. And Cody, again, lives with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And if you don't know what that is, it's a disease that affects boys, young men, usually discovered when they're around 3 or 4 years old.
Yes.
Everything seems pretty normal, but they can't get up off the floor as well. They can't run and jump normally. That's the first things people normally notice. And as life goes on, things get more difficult because the muscles deteriorate.
I started crawling and walking like any other kid.
A little late. About 18 months.
But I still did it like any other kid. I walked for, I don't know how many years, I can't remember.
You're about 8th grade.
8th grade. And then slowly I started getting weaker until I couldn't walk no more. And I am currently power chair, what would you say, ridden? Or,
use a power chair. And I guess the thing that's people don't know by looking, this disease affects the lower extremities, the legs, the hips first. But what's scary about it is that it affects all the muscles, eventually the heart, the lungs. Cody's gotten to this point that he has a hard time using his arms. He has to be propped up on things. He can feed himself if he's propped up. So, people walk up to Cody and they stick their hand out, shake his hand. I don't know what they think sometimes. They can't lift his arm to shake their hand.
They just give you that funny look like, why aren't you reaching up and shaking my hand?
So that's a little bit about Duchenne. It's progressive disease. But Cody is finished high school, part of the marching band for our high school. He has been on the AT&T Stadium because we went to state football, Energy Stadium in Houston. He's been all these places. Playing saxophone, being with the marching band in a power chair. Mm-hmm. And Cody's currently in college, going to junior college in Temple, Texas. And so he does a lot of things that people normally do. It just takes special modifications.
Mm-hmm. Whenever you have something like this, like Duchenne muscular dystrophy, you start thinking about the other people who have the same thing you have. And ever since I've been diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, I have worked with the Muscular Dystrophy Association, helping raise money for equipment and medicine for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And I've always wanted to say, if I can't help myself, I'll help other people fighting Duchenne.
And I think that kind of takes us into kind of our next topic.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about Cody and myself as we go on with this podcast through episodes. But next thing we'll talk about is what is Project Maynardstang. And I think in a way mean, it definitely started sort of in 2011, but I think it started before that because we've been on, back when MDA did their full telethons, we went to the local news stations and did the breaks, and Cody was on the news as far as how he's going to be on the telethon. I remember back when he was in about 6th grade because he's fixing to start band, and they came to our house and did a segment, and so he's been doing this sort of thing for a long time. But Project Maynardstang inspiration came around in May of 2011, and I'll let you talk more about that.
Before I get on with that, it's kind of off the subject. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube, you'll see my dad looking around the room. I have a lot of cool posters. I'm big into cars and stuff, and I have a poster in my room that has the date we started Project Maynardstang.
And that's really cool to have an exact date.
Yeah, we have an exact date it got started. What were we talking about?
Project, well, the beginnings, how you did the muscle walks and telethons.
Muscle walks and telethons. Yeah, I did muscle walks and telethons and everything else you could do to help raise money for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Back in 2011, me and my dad, we got a project car called Project Car 1993 convertible Mustang, and we started working and modifying it and making it look good and stuff. And getting to around high school, I decided that I wanted to start raising money on my own and stuff, and decided that I could use the car as a mascot, sort of, and a way to show people what I'm doing and raise money. And
kind of go in a little different direction. I mean, some people do music, and some people do, just speaking and whatever, or they do shows. Well, we're car people. I've worked in car dealerships forever. I went to school to work on cars. Cody just naturally became a car person. If it moves, cars, trucks, tractors, boats, I mean, he's been into it since he was little. So kind of a different direction is tying in wanting to help people out with tying in the automotive theme to it. Going to car shows and setting up, and I mean, if it's nothing more than the board we put out that talks about Project Maynardstang and DMD, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and just trying to raise some awareness, because people, they see the car and then they sit there and they read the poster, the board, and they get at least an idea. They may have never heard of it before, and that's part of the angle, and where the car ties in, and it's the mascot. It's something Cody's developed and continues to develop as far as the progression of Project Maynardstang.
Yeah.
So awkward silence there. But,
awkward.
But Project Maynardstang, I mean, not only talking about Duchenne muscular dystrophy, muscle diseases, and just accessibility issues.
Yeah,
which will be projects or topics that we'll talk about more in future episodes of this podcast.
Yes. And on that note, Project Maynardstang is for people fighting muscle disease. It raises money for that. It does raise awareness for accessibility, and it shows people the struggles that anyone living with a disability goes through that most normal people might not think about. And I don't want to get into the accessibility thing much, but just to give you an idea on why we Project Maynardstang's about accessibility too. We were out shopping yesterday, and I was going up and down the ramps at the shopping mall, outdoor shopping mall, and all the handicap accessible ramps were outside of the awnings. So if you're handicapped or disabled, you're more than likely, if it's raining, you're going to get wet, or you're in the direct sunlight on a hot day.
Yep. So
that just shows some of the issues and why Project Maynardstang talks about that too.
And we'll tell you again at the end of this, I'm sure, but so you can see more if you're just now hearing this podcast. I mean, you've probably seen it online already, but Project Maynardstang is, there's a website, projectmaynardstang.com, all one word. Mm-hmm. Facebook, Project Maynardstang. Cody, what's your Twitter and Instagram?
I would make sure to tell y'all all about that at the end of the podcast. That way you'll remember it.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, it's on all social media.
So it's on social media.
You can learn more and see more than just what we're telling you here.
And on that note, I think we'll take a quick 45-second break, and we'll be back in a little while. Well, that break lasted a real long time.
But we're back now. I just thought of something. Project Maynardstang. Hadn't really touched on that yet, but the name Maynardstang, some people get a little confused, but we like it, so it's going to stay. But, Cody, what is Maynardstang? Or where did that come from?
Well, I don't know when it started, but one day... I can't remember really how it started, but I know Daddy, one day he called me Maynard, and he was just picking at me and talking about nicknames and whatever, and it stuck, so he kept calling me Maynard, so that's my nickname. And then, like I said, we have a 93 Mustang project car that we take to all the car shows and events that Project Maynardstang's at. And that's where the Stang thing comes from, is the Mustang, and the love that we have for the Mustang.
So Maynard for Cody's nickname, Stang for the Mustang, and I think it was 8th grade graduation. Cody was real surprised because Cody's mom got the principal when he was going across the stage, because they give him their 8th grade diploma and stuff. And she says, "Cody Maynard Shoppy," and his face just like, what? Just lit up. He couldn't believe she said that. So, and it really is a thing that stuck.
People can't pronounce Maynardstang or write it for some reason, but it's exactly like it sounds. It's Maynard and Stang, and it's all one word. I mean, a lot of people, they look at the name of it and they get confused because it's kind of a long name, but the name is what we called it, and it's too late to change it now, so Project Maynardstang is what it is.
And, one of the last things we've touched on a little bit here, but that we want to talk about was more about the podcast and why we advocate for accessibility. And, this podcast, it's Cody's deal, but we'll take a subject and focus more on it, one particular subject, whether it's, accessibilities in the buildings, whether it's travel, whether it's just day-to-day life with a disability, whether it's, something more car-related a little bit. We're not going to do much of that, I don't think, but it is kind of an automotive theme a little bit, and we want to be entertaining as well. So I think we'll throw a little bit of that in there, maybe. And, the accessibility... we have a restaurant around the corner from our house.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
And it's so frustrating. There's one sort of ramp to get in the building. It's not a very good ramp to start with. It's like a mountain. It's like a mountain. It's got a big hole in front of it. But otherwise, there's a curb around the whole front of the building. So there's just one ramp if you're in a chair. And people, okay, I'll back up. It's not marked very well. I'll give them that. But people think that they just need to park as close as they can to the building. So here you've gone to the restaurant. You come out and somebody's parked their car right in front of the ramp.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Yeah, always. And so here you're stuck. And it's stuff like that people don't think about. They're worried about themselves. And, we see it at other places. They're going to park right on the ramp. Well, somebody in a wheelchair can't get in.
Mm-hmm. And I originally tried this Talk with Maynard thing as a YouTube video series. And I wanted it to do it weekly. But it was kind of hard to keep up with. So I figured a podcast, you don't have to set as much stuff up. And I'd be more likely to do it every week. And that's what Project Maynardstang, Talk with Maynard podcast is going to be about. It'll be about accessibility or things that I see are an issue with people with disabilities. And other things that are going on in the world that make it hard for us to do certain things. So that's really what the whole podcast is really going to be about.
And so that's just a little intro. There's going to be a lot of really cool stuff coming up. We're learning as we go. And I don't know if he'll put it out there or not, but there is a video of this podcast being done.
Uh-huh.
So if you really want to see us, and if we can get it out there, if I say we, Cody, can get it out there, then you may be able to see us sitting here talking to this microphone, looking at each other.
Yeah.
Which would be really cool, I think, if we can get it up there, because it's being recorded that way as well. But we're trying to keep within a certain time frame, so we're getting kind of close up on that time, so it's not too long.
Uh-huh.
We hope you find this entertaining.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas to come at you with.
And I really do hope I can get a video out of us talking like this. But you probably heard some noises during this video. And I'm not sure my camera has gotten the whole thing. So hopefully it'll be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
If not, it's not. But if so, then there is a YouTube channel, Project Maynardstang, though, and I'll let you talk more about the social media side again. Now we're close to the end.
I think we'll go ahead and close the video. It's time for me and my dad to sound real scripted again as we read the outro, if you're wondering why. So, that's all we have for you this time.
We do thank you for listening. It's right here on the thing here. If you see the video, I'm showing you my thing.
Yeah.
But, we thank everyone for listening. There's no guest this time. It's just Maynard and me.
Yeah.
But, next show, we don't know exactly for sure. And we'll probably have it out. We're already talking, next weekend's going to be a little tight, but we got set up. So, we should have you another podcast next week.
And that video should be more about the Project Maynardstang mascot, Ugly Betty.
Oh, that's right. That's going to be a fun one. That'll be fun.
And, since we are new to the world of podcasting, please let us know if there's anything we need to change or do better with. Also, be sure to follow Project Maynardstang, and this is real important. Make sure you follow it on Facebook and Instagram at Project Maynardstang. That's all lowercase. And Project Maynardstang is one word. You can follow us on Twitter at Project Maynard1. That's all lowercase and all one word too. And you can find us on YouTube by searching Project Maynardstang. Thank you all for listening to our first podcast. And that is all we have for you this time. And I will play the closing music.